want to make a lot of money? You want to be successful? How do I get from where I am to where I need to be? I didn't want to be rich. I just didn't want to be poor. I started 10 years ago with a vision and 2 employees, and now we're 250 people. We'll do 150 million this year. And every day when I get off the elevator and I walk into my office, it's this feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction, knowing that I had this vision and a few years later, it's real. You know, when I was younger, my parents didn't speak any English. And like many immigrants, since I was a little kid, I was 8 years old when we came to North America. And so I had to read the contracts. You know, when my dad bought a house, I had to read the mortgage and go through the paperwork. And when I was around 18 or 17, I looked at being, at that point, we were, you know, lower middle class. And I said, how do I get from where I am to where I need to be? And so I started calculating how much money I would have to make in order just to buy a house. And then I added the taxes into it and all the other stuff. And I realized how difficult it was going to be to accumulate capital, because that's the hardest thing to do, is to accumulate capital. It's one thing to get paid a lot of money, but if you look at the tax system in North America, it's really hard to amass capital. And I just decided that I didn't want to be where I was. I didn't want to be middle class or lower middle class or mediocre. I just wanted to be great at something. Because I figured out that the people that I saw that were doing great things were fundamentally great at one thing. The analogy I always use is Peyton Manning gets paid $10 million a year. He doesn't get paid $10 million a year to tackle, to kick the ball, to play defense. He gets paid $10 million a year to do one task and do it really, really well. Nobody buys from you. Nobody makes you wealthy because you're okay at something. The world does not reward mediocrity, nor does it reward average. It only rewards exceptional. So you got to find that one thing that you're good at, and you got to become great at it. Because if you focus what you're not good at and try to become good at it, you're going to run into somebody who is going to clean your clock at it. When you think about success and you think about business and you think about being an entrepreneur, everybody wants to talk about the good times. And I always say to people, it's easy to be an entrepreneur when the sun is shining. It's easy to run your own business when there's good cash flow and people love you and there aren't many problems. But have that same desire to do it when your biggest customer just left, or do it when you don't have enough cash to make payroll, or do it when you've got real problems at home and nobody cares. Being a great entrepreneur is the ability to stay focused and highly motivated when there's failure around you. It's not your ability to handle success that'll decide how successful you'll be. It's your ability to absorb failure. Not take failure, not get hit, but absorb it. I mean, absorb it with every fiber of your body. When there are those days where you feel like, I just cannot go on. Get up on those days, get in front of your team, and get them going in the same direction, and be highly motivated on those days. Because if you can do it on those days, you can do it any day. Being a successful entrepreneur is really lonely. I'm not saying that because I expect people to call me up and say, I'll be your friend and look for sympathy, but it's true. The more successful you are as an entrepreneur, the lonelier it is, because there's just less people that you can hang out with. And, you know, the bigger you are, also the bigger the target on your back. And someone's always out to get you. When you're starting out and things aren't going well, Misery really does find company. It's easy to find a lot of people to have a beer with and hang out with. But that level of focus to keep going is really difficult. And so one of the things I try to do is I look for people that have been where I want to go. And I love to learn. I've looked for many people along the way. From Warren Avis, the guy who started Avis Rent-A-Car, I used to work for him indirectly. He owned a holding company that I worked for, and he was a great guy. To people you've never heard of, to even some of the other sharks. I've learned a lot from Mark Cuban. I've learned a lot from Damon John. I've learned from a lot of people. The biggest lessons, and my biggest mentor, was always my dad, because that level of courage I had never seen in another human being. And when I was younger, I didn't really understand it. Once I got older, I understood the sacrifices that he had to make for me to be given the opportunity to be successful. I mean, he was 37 years old, left a communist country, crossed the border, hopped on a boat, and brought his wife and me, my mom and I, with one suitcase to a foreign country where he didn't speak the language, didn't know a single soul, and we had something like $20 in our pockets. That's courage. And as I got older, what I really learned out of that is never complain, because number one, nobody cares, and two, all you deserve in life is an opportunity. Man, when something gives you an opportunity, you got to take it, you don't complain, and you got to go for it. I'm a highly emotional guy. I'm a highly passionate guy. I love my business. I love everything about it. Where I'm not emotional is when it comes to winning or losing. You've got to be very careful about not taking your own bias or emotion into a negotiation or into a fight or into anything, because you've got to be very clear what the goal is. And in business, the goal typically is to make money. When I went to sell my first business to AT&T, I didn't want to sell it. And so it was the night before we were supposed to close the deal. And so I changed my mind, and I called the CEO at the time, and I said, "Oh, I can't sell this business." And he looked at me and he said, "Why not?" And I said, "Oh, it's my baby." And he said, "No, it's not. It's a business." I said, No, it's my baby." And he goes, "No, it's not. Your baby is what you have at home. That's your family. Your business is not your family. Your business is an asset that you started. And if you think we're paying you the right price, then you should sell it. If you think you can keep going and maximize the return, then don't sell it." And he was so non-emotional about it, it really hit home for me. I've seen more people make mistakes because they get angry or they get highly emotional in front of a customer or in front of a supplier. Leave your emotion at the doorstep. Business is about business. When you hit the real world, you're going to start competing with people who are really, really good at something. Technology, advertising, something, and they know it inside out. You want to make a lot of money, you want to be successful, you got to take those people on with a skill that you're world class at. I hate the word failure. I hate that label. I wake up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night sometimes when I feel like I'm going to fail or I'm a failure. You know, I run every day, and I run pretty far, and sometimes, just like everybody, I get jet lag and I get tired. And when I get to that point where I feel I cannot go on, this little inner voice inside me says, "What are you, a failure?" And then I don't care if my feet are going to fall off and blood is going to start dripping out of my veins. I will not stop. I hate that word. I do not want to be defined by that word.
Welcome to TruPowur, home of the most powerful marketing tools, training, and technology on planet Earth. Get ready to earn, Enjoy and experience more than you ever dreamed was possible. If you're tired of just getting by and ready to really thrive, then buckle in and listen up. Here's your host, Matt Fox.
It is December the 11th, 2021. We've got some good stuff to cover today. Today, we are going to be covering a few topics, and so let me share my screen. Just a couple of things that some of the changes that are in the quick launch menu. The new demo pricing platform, which I think a lot of you are going to be able to take a good advantage of and be able to practice with a little bit. And then navigating the CRM and dialer, a little more deeper dive into that, as well as covering some of the intros that you would use when you're talking to a customer, because I think that's after listening to some of the calls that people are making, I think where a lot of people find the stumbling block is on the intro or the introduction with a customer. And so let's jump over to the quick launch menu. And so everybody should know how to find that by now. It is at agent.trupower.com. And everything else is pretty much the same, except that you'll notice down here at the bottom, there are actually two additional buttons. One says Demo Residential Pricing Platform and Demo Commercial Pricing Platform. And the reason that we did that is because there were people that were wanting to put in test deals into the real platform, and that goes to the suppliers, and then they look at me like I'm a moron because there's Frank Tester in the real platform. So never put fake deals in the active pricing platform. If you want to practice, this is what we set this up for. So on the residential side, the residential pricing platform, if you click on that, you'll see that it says front demo at TruPowur or TruPowurAcademy.com. And so you'll know that you are in the demo site. And so this is going to allow you practicing putting in those deals that are residential. And then on the backside here, the pricing platform is the demo for the commercial side of it, or the login. And so there are two different logins that are available, and I'll send that out, but you can write that down. If you want to log in as an agent, then the username is agent. The password is demo for agent exclamation, and the password is case sensitive. If you are an agent and or a broker and want to see what that looks like when you log in as a broker, the username is broker. The password is demo for broker exclamation, and again, case sensitive. And so you'll be able to actually put deals in, practice actually going through that process if that's something that's of interest to you before actually doing something live. So I think that is going to be helpful for a lot of people. So broker, oops, demo for broker exclamation, and log in. And you can see that there's some dummy information in here, and you'll be able to basically go through and do instant quotes, add customers, basically do the whole deal, except that it's not going to get submitted to the suppliers. So we don't have that debacle. So that is going to be very handy. So you can do everything that you can do in the normal pricing platform for commercial side. The only difference is it is not going to actually go anywhere. It's not going to go to a supplier. So even if you were to put a customer in and then do a reverse auction, no suppliers are going to respond. So it'll just be a matter of the exercise of setting that up and so forth. So I think this is a valuable tool for everybody. One of the things that you'll note on the broker side, as opposed to the agent side, when you go up to the financials on the agent side, it is just going to give you some basic information as to how much commission you have coming up or in the future. In the broker side, you'll see that there are some unique differences in that you have the power score, and this power score takes into account several things. First off, it it's basically weighing how many upfront deals do you have versus how many residual deals you have. So in other words, if you look at uh, right here, it says reversible commission. That doesn't mean that you're due to reverse those commissions. Those are typically going to be fronted commissions. In other words, if you selected an upfront commission, it was $10,000, then you would see 10,000 in here with the potential of a reversible commission. Because if something happened to that customer, they went out of business or something, that has the potential of a chargeback. And so it's possible, very rare that we ever experience that, but you need to know. And so what happens is, as this the more reversible commission that you have versus residual commission, that power score is going to increase. So it goes from 0 to 400. So if all of your deals were residual, then that power score would stay at 400 and you wouldn't have any issues. And that is going to have a bearing a little bit on some of those upfront commissions. The higher your power score, the greater those commissions are going to be on the upfront as that scales. Also, as your volume increases, so after you have $200,000 worth of volume in the system, it is going to take you from where you are and then add another percent of income. At 400,000, it'll go to 2%, 800,000 is go to 3%, and 1.2 is going to take it to 5%, which potentially will give you 85% worth of the commission. So a little bit of a carrot there. I think that's pretty awesome. You're not going to find that anywhere on the planet. If you have a book of business and a tenure and you go to work for a competitor, the most they're going to pay you is 40%. So industry standard is typically 20 to 40%. So even our lowest with the agent is higher than their highest. So you have that going for you. So from here, you'll be able to see estimated future income, actual commission paid for November, and then the estimated commission that is being paid out in December. And then, of course, you can look at commission forecast reports, paid commission reports. So you have a lot more information here on the broker side. And a lot of that is attributed to being able to monitor what's going on with you and or your team. So as a broker, it allows you to have the ability to have agents and sub-agents. So what are the difference between an agent and a sub-agent? Well, an agent is somebody who's going to have full access to the platform. They're going to be able to put deals in the front for residential, and they're going to be able to put deals in the back office. So they're going to have full access, just like anybody who has an agent license. and be able to work those deals. And if you're the broker over that agent, then when you go into your back office, you're going to see their deals and your deals. And so whatever they do, if you have agents that are just doing a bunch of upfront commissions, it's going to pull down your power score. So that's when you want to start managing them and say, hey, we need to start looking at some residual stuff. I can appreciate you wanting to do that. Now, it's not going to keep you from being able to do that. All it's doing is giving you a quick glance as to where do I stand in the organization? Am I putting myself at a greater risk by having upfront commission versus residual versus lower risk where you have residual income and no upfront? Now, mind you, the last time I had a chargeback was about 4 years ago. So it's not something that's prevalent, but with the onset of the pandemic, the suppliers were a little nervous that there might be an increase of chargebacks, and maybe for some that's true. For us, we haven't really experienced that, so that's a good thing. The other thing is a sub-agent, which is only attached to a broker. And that is typically when somebody comes to TruPowur and they say, well, I've got a team of 20 people that is out there selling satellite TV, and they're going door to door. I'd like for them to be able to offer the customer better rates on their electric and so forth. So the only thing that they need access to is the front of the platform. And so they won't have any login information. They're not going to have a CRM. They're not going to have an email. They're not going to have anything except a sales code right here where you normally would put your sales code. So they would only have a sales code, which means they have no CRM, nothing other than a sales code, which allows them to put in residential deals. I suppose they could put in a commercial deal through the front of the platform, but they're not going to have any control over it. They're just going to be able to put it in there and go. Now, by putting that sales code in there that is attached to that broker in turn is going to be able to monitor and see what those people are doing or not doing. So just to kind of give you a little update on how all of that works and the usage of the new demo platform. So hopefully that is helpful. Then especially for a lot of agents who kind of I wonder what that commission would have looked like if I was a broker, or or if you're a broker, I wonder what that would look like if I was an agent. So you can log in either way as a broker or an agent and get a really good idea. A lot of the functionality is still going to remain the same. So all of the updates and things like that are still going to be in there. So anyways, if you have any questions, or if you find a glitch or something like that, let me or support know, and we'll attend to it. But I think this is going to be very handy for a lot of people. Let me go back over here to our agenda. And so the new demo pricing platform, which we just covered. Oh, one other thing. In the quick launch menu down here on the bottom right-hand corner, there is another button that makes it easier for people to get to accounting. And we're going to be adding some other things in there for you that pertain to your license, especially if you're wanting to upgrade your agent license to a broker, or if you need to freeze your account, or if you need to update your financial information, whether your direct deposit or your credit card on file, or whatever it is that you need to do, then you'll be able to access that right here through accounting. So those are the three things that changed in the quick launch menu: is the accounting link, the demo for the residential side and the demo for both agent and broker on the back side. So good stuff. So navigating the CRM. And so let's go ahead and jump on over to that. So if we go over to the CRM and you log in, you know, a lot of people have questions about a lot of the simple tasks that go on within the CRM. So when you pull up the CRM, you can click on leads to go to your leads, or any of the leads that are going to be require your attention are going to be listed down here in the bottom. And so they're going to be listed based on importance. So if you have calls that are scheduled today in the calendar, you'll be able to do that. So you can click on it from here or go into your leads. And once you do that, there is going to be a few, well, if it's your first day, you're probably just going to see never contacted and some leads. As you request leads from support, you'll be able to sort those and get to those by selecting the lead source. So if you've added some leads in yourself, and you should have put those in as self-sourced. So if you're wanting to look at just only those things that are self-sourced and hit search update, then you'll know that those 2 leads that are in the system are leads that you put in the system, and those are self-sourced. Otherwise, if you are wanting to just attend to Texas leads or Pennsylvania or wherever it is that you're working in, then you can select that source, click on search, and that will update so that you can click on that, hit the top one, and that's going to bring you right to your database. So from here, just a quick glance at the customer information. You're going to have the company name, the contacts information, and address, phone number. On occasion, you might have the email. I prefer that the email not be there, just because that way I know you actually got permission to send an email. So if they gave you the email address, whether the receptionist did it or the bookkeeper, or if the owner said, you know, send that to Mary, then what's her email address? Then you've been given permission to send that email. Along with the utility expenses of that business. And then this area down here is really for you to keep track of whatever's going on, if they have a Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and if you're doing some upfront commissions or residual, what is the new rate that you're working with that customer, and what is the contract length? So this is really for your digestion. So on the right here, this is not an additional sort like I want to go look up somebody. You know, if you go down here to lead source and you say, well, I want to work in, you know, Ohio, and you change the status of this and save it, you're going to actually take that customer lead, which this one is in Pennsylvania. But if I go and change this to Oregon, really what you're doing is changing that customer to the Oregon market. So this is not, I want to look up stuff. This is actually this is all the information about this particular customer. So when you're making calls to the customer, that's very simple. Just click on this green dial. It will bring up the dialog box to call that customer. And if it goes to voicemail, then there is a voicemail drop button that you can click. You need to click the voicemail drop button before the beep, not after the beep. If you do it after the beep, nothing's going to happen. So as soon as you see, this is John Williams, I'm away from my desk right now, click, boom, hit that drop button, and that will leave a pre-recorded message for that customer. If you wait till the beep, it's not going to happen. If we need to send an email to the customer, right here's a little email icon. If you click on that, it will open up the email dialog box. And you do have some templated emails. So the first utility audit request, if you click on that, it's going to automatically populate that customer's information in there along with your information and so forth. So all you have to do is select that and hit send. That's it. It's already got things attached to it. It's got tracking codes that are attached to it, so you don't need to do anything. If you're needing to just follow up with that customer, and you want to send a reminder, then the second utility audit request reminder is available. And so if you find that you have a need for certain things that are not there or not available, let support know. We can certainly create those templates. We don't want to go too crazy and have 900 templates. It makes it very difficult for people to find or understand what's the difference. But if we find something that's of great value, obviously we want to make that available for you. If you're just needing to send a general email, then when you select general email, it is going to pull up a box which will allow you to type in your message. And once you're done with that, then you need to click done. Once you click done, it is going to put that information into the email, and now you can send. So pretty simple. So hopefully that makes sense for everybody. When the customer opens that email, a pop-up will appear in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. So if you're on another customer and that pop-up appears in the right-hand corner, once you're done with that call, you can click on that and it will bring the customer's information back up for you. So I had seen that somebody had questions about how to schedule appointments for the future and a calendar and all of that. Well, we do have a calendar, which is right up here. If after speaking to this customer, I realize that I need to call them back next Tuesday, which is the 14th, then I can click add an appointment, and I can set the date when I need to talk to that customer on the 14th and at what time. And if you leave it at the default, it is going to always default to whatever time it is right now. So I'm assuming if I spoke to them quickly now, they're probably going to be available now on Tuesday or at this same time on Tuesday. But you can adjust these times right here. And so if they want me to call at 9 a.m., then all I got to do is click done. It is going to give you a 1 hour window. You can change that if you want. I think that's plenty fine. And then click, you can put in a note, wants me to remind him about natural gas prices or whatever it is that you spoke about. And then you can click add. Once you add that, it is going to show up down here as a scheduled appointment, but it will also appear in your calendar. So if you go to your calendar, you can see there's the appointment that I set for the 14th, as well as any appointments that you have the night before. The system will email you a list of all of your appointments the night before. So first thing in the morning, when you get up and you check your email in Thunderbird, it is going to give you an opportunity to go ahead and see what appointments you have scheduled for that day. So you can also view that in the calendar. Now, a couple of things. Over here, it's important that you result this call. And so you're going to change the category of what that current lead status is. So currently it is never contacted. So after I've contacted them, I may want to change that to first call voicemail drop, or first call, no answer, no voicemail, try again later. So that is going to change the status of that customer. So you know at a glance, when you go into your leads, you're going to see those different statuses available. And so you may say, okay, well, today I'm going to work on all my first call, no answer, not available, try again later, those kinds of things. Or perhaps you are, you left a message with the receptionist, or you scheduled a meeting, or you're in the process of closing, a utility audit was requested. That's going to tell you what you have out there coming in so that you can keep track of it. Deals that you have won, deals that you have lost. And so a lot of times, I see people that just result to that right away because there's no answer. When you put it as a loss status, you're basically killing the deal. Now you can go back and go through that, but that makes it kind of difficult. So this is not, they didn't answer, so I'm going to put lost, no answer. If they didn't answer, then I would put that as first call, no answer, no voicemail, try again later. If you go and put it down here, you're basically telling the system to kill the customer, that you don't want to ever try again. So I think one call is not sufficient. Obviously, if it's a fax machine, for whatever reason, sometimes people will turn on their fax, they're expecting a fax, and they forgot to turn it off. And every time somebody calls, I remember years and years and years ago when we had a fax like that and you didn't use it all the time, and somebody say, hey, I'm going to send you a fax. Okay, I'll go turn it on. You turn it on, they forget. And every time the phone rings, the fax answers it. And they're like, why aren't we getting any phone calls? Oh, darn it, I left the fax on. So now if there was a fax machine, you might want to try back in a week or what have you. Other than they're not interested and hung up. Now, if somebody told me they were not interested, I would probably call them back, because I don't know what they're not interested in, just talking to me or actually finding out if they are due money back from a utility audit. Difficult to reach. What does that mean? I would say if you've called that person 3 times, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m., noon, 3 o'clock, you've tried different times, different days, and you've gotten nowhere with it, then that's obviously difficult to reach. Lost to a competitor? Well, that's not a good one, but it does happen. For some reason, that customer has gone with somebody else. But if you're leading in with the utility audit, would not matter. And I think sometimes what happens is a lot of people are throwing the whole wheelbarrow of services that we provide and saying that we save people money and we do this and we do that. And the reality is, if you're opening with the utility audit, we're going backwards 3 to 4 years, depending on the statute of limitations. I would just keep it. We're able to go back 3 years and identifying those errors that are within the utility and the line items that are actually not only on the bill, but buried within the utility, providing you the information that you need to find out whether you have a clean bill of health, or in fact, there are errors that would result in a refund. That's not savings, that's a refund. And so if you're talking about savings, then the customer alludes that you're trying to switch their electric account. And so we're not talking about savings, we're talking about getting money back, right? So that is the utility audit. So in an existing contract, take me off your list. They basically told you to go pound sand. Unqualified, regulated bills are paid at corporate, and then you need to find out corporate and update the information on there. So make sure that you take the time to result the call so that it doesn't end up as staying in this. Otherwise, you're going to have a bunch of customer leads that are going to be up here in this top bar where it says never contacted, and you're just going to be calling the same people over and over and over again, and you're like, why is the system doing that? I had somebody I heard yesterday say something to the effect that when you click on the result of the call in the dial box, that it didn't move it over. So I'm going to look at that, but you should make sure that even if you did that, it is only going to put that note in here into your notes as to the result of that call. So if you, whatever result you clicked on the dial box, it is going to put that note in the notes section, but you still need to change the status of that customer there. So that'll be helpful. Up here at the top, you have the audit. Now, these are all intros based on if that's the way you were leading in with the customer. So you have the utility audit, commercial customers, residential customers, and solar. And these are really laid out really in the order that I would say of importance. So audit is number one. We only do audits on commercial customers, not residential. And then of course, once you have the utility or the bill for the utility audit, then we will actually walk you through that next phase on the commercial side at the supplier side and do that. So you should not be talking to the customer about commercial pricing and we've got the best rates and all of that stuff. Stick to one lane, keep it simple, and get a copy of the utility bill. That will open up all the doors, I promise you. And then of course, residential, a lot of people like to spend 25 to a third of their time working on residential. Residential is super, super easy. It is like giving candy to a child. So, and a lot of that has to do with what is your intro? How are you introducing yourself? And so when I listen to the recordings, and I'm not going to do it today, but if you go back and listen to the recordings of yourself, I think you probably would be your own biggest critic. I know that I am. When I listen to myself, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. So, but here is a intro for the residential side. And I think this just makes it really easy. And I think if you understand the philosophy of it, it's so much smoother. Hi, my name is Matt Fox with TruPowur and the State Energy Choice Program of whatever state I'm calling. If I'm calling Pennsylvania, or if I'm calling Texas or whatever, Matt Fox with TruPowur and the State Energy Choice Program of Texas, good day to you. Now, why do I say that? Why don't I say, how are you? Who cares how they are? What if they're having a bad day and they actually tell you? Do you want to hear that? No, but if you say good day to you, it elicits a positive response. And that gets them already in the mindset of being positive. And we want to keep it positive right out of the gate. We ask them how they are, maybe they're not going to tell you. Plus, it also sounds like a salesperson. But when you command a response of good day to you, And John says, well, good day to you. The reason for my call is the rates in your area are at an all-time low. Our company is offering customers an amazing proposal. And here it is. Grab a copy of your electric bill. And if the rate on your bill is lower than what we have to offer, our company is prepared to give you $500 in restaurant cash. If the rate we have to offer is lower than what you're currently paying, I would like for you to take advantage of it, obviously saving you a significant amount of money. Either way, you win. Grab a copy of your bill. Let's take a look at it. I'll hold. I don't give them a lot of time to chit chat, talk back forth. You don't see anywhere on there where it says, hi, is this John? Oh no, this is Bill. Who are you calling for? Now I got to get into that. I don't care who really answers the phone, quite frankly. I can almost bet you a higher winning track record that whoever answers the phone, even if it was a toddler, that they have electric. That I know. And so that's the subject, not who answered the phone. So I don't need to spend time. Is this Frank? Oh, hi, Frank. How are you? There's nothing on there. I never ask them their name until I actually start writing the deal. And once I enter that information into the pricing platform, that is the first time I am going to even discuss their name. And I usually will ask them, and how is your name spelled on the bill? Because I could have Tim in my back or my CRM, but on the bill it says Timothy. And so when I'm entering that information into the platform, which is right over here. So if I'm entering that customer information into the platform, so let's say that we were working in Chicago today and I click get rates. And after talking to whomever, find out that 7.49 is a much better deal than what they're currently paying, then I click setup right here. And how is the name on your bill spelled? Timothy A. Parker. And the correct street address for the service. Does that go to a different billing address? Yes or no? Your phone number, mobile, email. If they don't have a landline, just put the mobile number in both locations and hit next. Really super simple. Other than going through this portion and immediately asking them what they pay. And if I'm working in Chicago or Illinois or wherever, I'm going to want to know some things before I even start. So I'm going to go over here to the National Registry here for prices on residential is 13.09. So I'm going to automatically just go ahead and put that in there just to start. And so once I'm talking to the customer, obviously I want to find out how much they're currently paying on their utility bill. If this, for some reason, this customer has a rate that is 5 cents, then they have a better rate. And we owe them $500 in restaurant cash. So how do you do that? You go over here to the purple royal button and you click on that. That is going to open up the incentive page. All you need to do is go down here to $500 in restaurant cash, put their email in there, hit go, you're done. But are you done with the customer? No, because that customer may have a rate that's 5 cents, but when does their contract expire? That's the only time I'm going to ask them when their contract expires. Other than that, if they say, well, it's going to expire in 6 months, say, well, you know, actually, in 6 months, the rates are expected to be, 3 to 9% higher than where they are right now. You can look at the analytics to be able to determine that. I would like to call you back, or they're going to be potentially could be better down the road. I don't think so, but I would like to follow back up with you sometime between now and then when the rates are obviously better. You're going to have to renew your contract. And to do that, you're going to have to get a new rate. And I'd like to be able to afford you an opportunity to get the best rate possible. We have all of the utilities, we have all of the suppliers, and I'd like to compete for that business. Is that fair enough? No problem. I sent you the $500 in restaurant cash. That's our way of saying thank you for taking time with us today, and I look forward to working with you again here real soon. Then I'm going to go down here and set an appointment to talk to that guy in 3 months or 6 months or whenever it is that I need to renew that contract. So it is a very, very simple process. If that customer has a better rate, that's fantastic. Give them their $500 in restaurant cash, but before you hang up, find out when that contract expires and when you can follow back up with that customer to renew their contract. If they're a renter, find out, are they going to be renewing their lease? They usually coincide with one another. So, when you first get a rental, you got to change everything, the electric in your name. So usually the lease and the contracts tend to expire at the same time. So are you going to be renewing the lease, or are you a homeowner? And so those are value points when you're dealing with residential. Now, one thing I will tell you about the residential, when you're calling residential from the platform, do not leave messages on their voicemail. Do not use the voicemail drop button on residential. It's not required. You don't know who you're leaving the message to. And the voicemail drop is geared for commercial customers. It's not geared for residential. They don't answer, move on. Don't leave a message, nothing. Just move on, go to the next one. So anyway, so that is the residential side. That is how you set those appointments. Anything that you do on the platform is going to be registered down in the notes. You can certainly add notes additionally to the bottom that can remind you of things. If that's something that's value point and important, and you want to make sure that that stays up to the top and doesn't end up getting buried down in the notes at some point as you follow up with that customer, you can put a note in there and then pin it to the top. So that way it'll always stay right there. That'll be the first thing that you see. So anyway, so that is how you can navigate the system. And if you are having connectivity issues, had somebody a couple days ago who was having a problem where uh, they could hear the customer, but the customer could not hear them. If you have that issue, go over to the quick launch menu and click on your speed. And that is going to check the download speed of your system. But once this finishes, this is also going to provide you an additional information button. And so as soon as that finishes, this is the download is the speed, and typically the download is always going to be faster than the upload. The download is what you're going to have for being able to hear them and obviously surfing the net. But show more, then come down here, and this is the one that you're looking for right here. And you want that upload speed to be 20 megs or higher, preferably. Could it be a little bit less? Yes, but the lower it gets, the little more dicier that might be for them to hear you. So if you do have a really good upload speed and you still have that kind of issue, let me or support know. And we can do some background checks and make sure that there isn't something else that's going on. So Anyways, so those are just some of the things that I think are value points. All right, it is 1/2 past the hour. We've had a great amount of information that we digested today. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Wish everybody a great weekend. Appreciate you being here on the call, and a lot of good information. So look forward to seeing you next week, and have a prosperous next week. Thank you. Bye now.